Welcome to Silicon Valley Asian Business Talk.
This is Roger Chen from University of San Francisco Center for Business Studies and Innovation in Asia Pacific. Welcome to our interview program. First, we want to thank Geek House to host this interview. And this is a very unique venue where Facebook or Meta was founded several years ago. And in our today's interview, we want to welcome Brandon Wang from Synopsys. And Brandon, first, thank you very much. Would you please briefly introduce yourself?
Yes, I've been in Silicon Valley for more than 30 years, right? So I started with the designers. Currently, I'm in the corporate strategy group at Synopsys. I was very fortunate to caught the internet boom when Silicon Valley moving from silicon to internet. And later I was with a company called ARM. We make the technologies that enables the mobile era. So again, very fortunately, grow with the mobile and see the valley from silicons to internet to mobile applications. And in the last 6 years with Synopsys, I'm focused on the corporate strategy, look at how a company sets strategy and enables both organic and inorganic growth.
Thank you. And also, I remember correctly, you are the vice president from the CEO office of Synopsys, yes, right? And in charge of corporate strategy, which is great.
Attracting large partners in semiconductor space.
It seems to me, actually, Synopsys is a very, very strategic in supporting the startup community, which is a very broad term. As you mentioned, these different startups could play a different role in Synopsys business, right? And so let's say, later on I will talk about the acquisition, more specific things. Let's say from a startup perspective, what can they do, what they should do to when they approach large companies like Synopsys, so that they are better informed to either do the selection before they approach large company like Synopsys, or they do more effective preparation so that be ready and attractive to work with large companies like a Synopsys.
I think that as a deep tech company, right? So I think the renaissance of silicon also is kind of start of a deep tech.
Deep tech, okay.
So technology is always the largest barrier. And so that I think as a startup, you need to look at it. What is the technology, the IPs, how unique it is, what is the threshold for other people to duplicate yours. That's always need to look at it from a silicon startup point of
view. So that's something Synopsys cares, actually.
We do, yeah. So, and depend on this, the reason that in the past couple of decades, the silicon startup number has declined is because of the barrier of entry, the capex needed to have create a silicon, we call it tape out of the silicon. It's quite costly.
Oh, that's why, because the entry barrier is increased.
Yeah, so I cannot write you $1 million check and you got the product developed. Right? So a typical advanced nodes tape out costs you tens of $20s of millions just for the manufacturing part to get that part back. So the silicon startup does have high level of entry barrier. And that's where I think that, as a startup, you can always raise your fund for the reason of this capex reason to expand their product.
For the audience, capex, when you say capex, you basically mean capital expenditure.
Yeah, it's more, in terms of your money for build your infrastructure.
Basically it's investment.
It's an investment, right? So I think that's I would say that's quite different than during the internet kind of boom, because 2 or 3 people that can start it. Now, saying that, there's a lot of EDA startups that actually does
you
not
mean electronic
design automation.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
those are about software tool development.
Okay.
To enable the IC design, and they don't need a lot of capital to move the needle. So back to answer your questions, depend on what type of company, right? So I think my advice for a EDA startup is not try to get a lot of investment from venture capital to start with.
They can push
because that's right, because you don't really need a lot of money, and your best investor is always your customers. And having a customer support you for your initial product prototyping, your MPIs, is actually a great demonstration of your technology. That's a great point.
Yes. So in other words, actually, if you got investment from the customer, that's already kind of a proof that market attraction.
Yeah. So I would suggest the first money you should go after is your target customers' money, not VC's money. But then again, if you are in the build up the silicon, you have a huge expenditure.
Yeah.
So I think that it's legit to say, hey, I need that money in order to bring my device back and validate it, right? So that's quite different depending on what type of startup. The bottom line here is that you only want to get the money when you really need that money, right? And the last thing you want to say to get the money is just develop the core technology. And you should have your core technology ready. Not a product, commercial grade yet, but the core technology has to be ready, has to be developed.
Maybe that's an interesting distinction. Could you elaborate a little bit more between product and technology? Because you kind of clearly kind of put them in a different bucket. And so what's the difference when you say technology versus product?
Yeah, technology developed in the innovation centers, in the academic world, in the research institute, right? So that's not part of the thing that you want a VC to fund you. Right? So, but moving from from there, from we call it the lab to fab. So from there into a commercial grade product, it takes many steps. And I try to give an example of enterprise software, right? So you can have one guy's write the software. You actually need 5 guys to validate the software to make sure it's high quality, it's commercial grade. You need to cover a broad application cases so that the software is not buggy. So that takes 90% effort. Then you have ideas, then you have your technology developed, right? So yeah, I would say never go to VC to say, hey, I need your money to develop my technology. You should have that in your bag. That's how the worth of your company. Right? But yes, I know that in the Silicon Valley, in silicon industry, to moving from that idea into production, it takes many steps. And you actually need to ensure that each steps you have the best, probability of success.
Thank you for watching.